JQuery traversing. What is traversing? JQuery traversing, which means move through, are used to find or select HTML elements based on their relation to other elements. Start with one selection and move through the selection until you reach the elements you desire. The image, which is on the next slide, illustrates an HTML page as a tree or a DOM tree. With jQuery traversing, you can easily move up. So when we move up, we're referring to our ancestors or to the ancestors of the elements, and down, and if we move down, we're referring to the descendants, and sideways, siblings, so similar to a family tree, so in the tree, starting from the selected or the current element. So this movement is called traversing or moving through or the DOM or DOM tree. So this is an example of a tree. So we can see here that the div element, this one, is the parent of UL and an ancestor of everything inside it. So this is everything inside the div. So div is the ancestor of everything. So if you move up, this is the ancestor. The UL element, this one, is the parent of both LI. So UL has two children here, or LI here is the parent, or UL is the parent of both LI. And UL is also a child of div. The LI element, this one, this LI, is the parent of span. So there's two spans here, and their parent is LI. And also LI is the child of UL, and LI is a descendant of div. So if you look downward, that's descendant. And if you look upward, div is the ancestor of LI. The span element is a child of the left of LI and a descendant of UL, and also a descendant of div. The two LI elements are siblings because they have the same parent. So the right LI, so this one, the right LI element, is the parent of B. So LI is the parent of B, and LI is the child of UL and a descendant of div. B here is a child of LI and a descendant of UL and div also. So it's similar to a family tree. JQuery ancestors. So how do we select ancestors? So traversing up the DOM tree. There are three useful jQuery methods for traversing up the DOM tree: parent, parents, and parentsUntil. So parent, you'll be selecting a single parent, maybe the immediate parent. Parents, maybe all the ancestors. parentsUntil, maybe a range. So the jQuery parent method. So first of two pages. The parent method returns the direct parent element of the selected element. So this method only traverses a single level up of the DOM tree. That's why it's just the parent. The following example returns the direct parent element of each span element. So if you're going to look at this code, we have here a division that ends here and another division that ends here. And inside this division, we have UL and we have LI and we have span. And here another division. So we have a paragraph, and inside the paragraph we have span. Okay. So in this code here, in this jQuery code, we're going to select span. So there are two spans here, 1 and 2. And then we get the parent of each span, and we change the CSS of these, the cascading style sheet to color, change the color to red, and the border to 2px solid red. So here the span, and the immediate parent of this, or the direct parent, is li, and for this the direct parent is p. That's why the output is something like this. So these are the span, and the direct parent of span is li. That's why li is colored red and the border is colored red. And here also we have here another span, and then the direct parent is this paragraph. So that is selected. So again, that's the immediate parent. Now we also have the parents method. So how is it different from the parent? The parents method returns all ancestors. So all ancestors. All ancestor elements of the selected element. So all the way up to the document's root element. So up to HTML. So if we're going to look at this, we have here a division. And inside the division, we have UL. And we have LI. Inside LI, we have span. And then here in our jQuery, we selected span. So this one is selected. Then that parents. And we change the CSS color to red and border to 2px solid red. So if this is the currently selected element, which is span, then the parents will be everything above it. So the parent, the grandparent, and the div. So we have li, ul, div, and also even the body. So this is up to HTML, so body, and even the document. So these are the parents. Now in this example here, similar to the previous one, but instead of just parents with blank, with nothing here as parameter, we place ul. So in this case, we'll be looking upwards, so the ancestors, but only those that satisfies this filter with this ul. So we are here, and this is the only ul ancestor. So this will be selected. So the same. Again, we have li, we have span inside li, we have ul, div, and then the body. But so the currently selected element is span, but we have here a filter, so we're going to select only that is equivalent to ul. So this is the element. Now we also have the jQuery parentsUntil method 1, 2. So the parentsUntil method returns all ancestor elements between two given arguments. So the following example returns all ancestor elements between span and a. So it's a range. So let's take a look at the example. So again, let's take a look at this. We have here span, li, ul, div, body. And here we selected span. So this one is selected. And then parentsUntil div. So from this up to this. So that means the body is not already included and HTML is no longer included. So only this up to this parent. So everything inside from this up to this will be selected. So we change the color to red and the border to red. So if we're going to look at the image, the output, this is our span and this is the div. So everything in between will be selected. That's why we have li and ul. jQuery traversing descendants. So this one downwards. So traversing down the DOM tree. Two useful jQuery methods for traversing down the DOM tree are children and find. jQuery children method, 1 of 3. The children method returns all direct children of the selected elements. So all direct children of the selected elements. This method only traverses single level down the DOM tree, so only single level. The following example returns all elements that are direct children of each div element. So if we're going to look at this code, we have here the div, we have a paragraph, and inside the paragraph we have span, and we have here another span. Okay. So the div here is the selected element, then that children CSS. So color it red and border. So only the immediate children. So the immediate children is the two paragraphs here. So if you're going to look at the output, div is the currently selected element, and we have here the two paragraphs. So the two paragraphs are both colored red and with the border red. Span is no longer selected. So only single level. Now we could also place a filter. So the same here, the same format, except that we have a class equal to first for the first paragraph and class equal second for the second paragraph. So what if I want to select only this and you want to use this traversing? Of course, you can go directly. But let's say, for example, we also have p class equals first here, but you're not referring to this. And you're only referring to this particular paragraph. So in this case, we can select the division, then children, and then we can place it the filter. P dot first. P dot first. So yung P dot first, ito na yung, this is now the class with first. So this one is not selected. Then we have the JQuery find method. The find method returns descendant elements of the selected element all the way down to the last descendant. So here we have the division, we have two paragraphs, we have two span here, and then we selected the div find until, so find span inside the div, and we colored it red and border red. So this is the div, the selected one, and then we find span inside the div, so all descendants. So with that, this will be the output, because this is the current element and these are inside this element, or this is the ancestor of both of these. Now we can also place find asterisk. So if we use find asterisk, that means all of the descendants. So the same format here. So the output now will be not only span, but all of the descendants of this current element. Because again, we place asterisk. That's our wildcard. Now how about for siblings? So JQuery siblings. Excuse me. Traversing sideways in the DOM tree. There are many useful JQuery methods for traversing sideways in the DOM tree. So these are siblings, next, nextall, nextUntil, and then the reverse is prev, prevAll, and prevUntil. So JQuery siblings method, 1 of 3. The siblings method returns all sibling elements of the selected element. So if you, again, if you're siblings, that means you have the same parent. So here, if we're going to look at our document, we have here a division, and inside the division we have a paragraph, we have the span. Again, the span is not inside the paragraph. You have H2, H3, and another P. But all of these elements are inside the division. So here we selected H2. So this element here. Then siblings, and we change the color to red and border to red also. So what will happen? So this will be the output. Again, these are all the parents of these elements is the same in division. So what will happen now is this, all of these will be selected. Of course, H2 is not selected. It's the current element. Only the siblings of H2. And we could also place a filter. So very similar with the previous one, but this time we place a filter here. So again, we have a paragraph, span, H2, H3, and another paragraph. And the currently selected element is H2. So if you select the siblings with P, only 1 and 2 will be selected. So in this case, we have this paragraph and this paragraph selected. We also have the next method. The next method returns the next sibling element of the selected element. So again, we have the same code here. So we have the division, the parent, we have the paragraph, span, H2, H3, and another paragraph. And H2 is the selected element. So that next CSS. So if this is the element, then that next is one. So this will be the selected element next to H2. The nextall element returns all next sibling elements of the selected element. So as if you're referring to the younger siblings. So the same, we have a division here with a paragraph, span, H2, H3, P all under the division here. So if you have H2, so instead of next, we use nextall CSS. So if this one is selected, everything below H2 will be selected. So this will be the output. We have here H2, and everything below H2 will be selected. We also have the nextUntil. The nextUntil method returns all next siblings element between two given arguments. So that's a range. So here we have the division with the paragraph, span, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, and another paragraph. And the selected element is H2, and we use nextUntil H6. So H2 until H6. So everything inside that range from H2 to H6 will be selected. So these are H3, H4, and H5. So the output will be something like this. H3, H4, and H5 are colored red and with border red. Now the previous all, and previous-until methods are similar to the next. So the previous all, and previous-until methods work just like the methods above, but with reverse functionality. They return previous sibling elements, traverse backwards along siblings element in the DOM tree instead of forward. So I don't need to give the example. So very similar to the previous one. So JQuery traversing and filtering, or this is now for filtering. We have the first, last, EQ or equal, filter, and not methods. The most basic filtering methods are first, last, equal, which allow you to select a specific element based on its position in a group of elements. Other filtering methods like filter and not allow you to select elements that match or do not match a certain criteria. The first method returns the first element of the specified elements. So if you're going to look at this, in the body we have a H1, we have a paragraph, and inside the after the paragraph we have a division. Inside division we have two paragraphs. Then BR, we have a division. Inside the division another two paragraph. Then another division, another two paragraph. So we have here div. So if we use just div, this will select three divisions, 1, 2, and 3. But we use that first. So if you use that first, it will only be the first division that will be selected. So that CSS background color yellow. So again, if you're going to look at the code, there are three divisions here, three div elements. But if you use div first, only the first division will be selected. That's why in our output, we have here the three divisions. Only the first division is colored or use the background yellow. The last method returns the last element of the specified elements. So the same here now. We have again three divisions. Okay. And then instead of first, we use div last CSS background yellow. So since we have three divisions here, only the last division will be selected. So in our output, we have the three divisions here, and only the last division was selected. Then the equal method. The equal method returns the element with a specific index number. So we use the index number. That means that the first one, so the index number starts at 0. That's the first element. And after 0, 1, 2, 3. So again, just remember that the first index is 0, not 1. So let's take a look at this. We have here H1, and then we have 4 paragraphs here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have here P. So if we only use this selector, then we are referring to all paragraphs. But we only want to select the second paragraph. So we place that EQ and then 1. That means that's the second paragraph. Again, it starts with 0. Then background yellow, we change the CSS background to yellow. So that's why in our output, only the second paragraph is colored or use the background yellow. Then we also have the filter method. The filter method lets you specify a criteria element that do not match the criteria. Elements that match the criteria are removed from the selection, and those that match will be returned. So here again we have 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. We have H1, and in our code we use the P filter. So with this alone, this will select 4 elements here. But we use a filter and we place here class intro. So we have here a dot. That means class is equal to intro. So if you notice here in these 4 paragraphs, only 2 paragraphs has a class of intro. So only the 2 paragraphs will be selected. Of course, we can go directly to P intro, but there are some instances we have to use this one. So that CSS background color yellow. This one is more specific in most cases. So that's why only the 2 middle paragraphs were selected. The not method returns all elements that do not match the criteria. The not method is the opposite of filter. So here, we have again 4 paragraphs, 2 with class intro, 2 with no classes, and then here P, again if you use this P, it will select all, but not class intro. So the class should not be equal to intro. We change the background color. So among the 4 paragraphs, which of this paragraph does not have a class equal to intro? So the first and the last. So we have the first and the last selected. Okay, so that ends the jQuery traversing, and you may be able to use those methods or traversing the DOM in your application. Thank you very much for viewing this video.